Hey, what's up guys? Hope you're having an amazing day. I am going to the 1-2 game that I played the other day where I lost the most money. Hoping for a different outcome this time, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. There's some crazy hands, there's some crazy bluffs, there's some big pots, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the action. Without further ado, let's get in those poker hands. Alright guys, so we are sitting down at the table. I have a $5 button straddle, look down and see ace queen offsuit. Now, the night is just getting started, so it's short-handed, haven't had everyone show up, so I figure I'm gonna play a little passive. When the undergun raises to 15, instead of re-raising like I would normally do, I just put in the call and once again, waiting for the game to fill up and kind of see what happens. But the flop comes out ace queen 4 and I am loving life. Flop top 2 pair, he checks, I check behind for deception. 7 of spades comes on the turn, he bets 15 and I think it's time to spring the trap right here and now. So I raise it up to $40. Got to get this pot a little bit bigger. Considering that we checked on flop, he probably has no idea how strong we are, and I think we can get paid from like a weaker ace or something like that. He puts in the call and we're going to the turn, which changes absolutely nothing. I'm sorry, going to the river, which changes absolutely nothing. It's a deuce of clubs. Other than like 3-5 for a double gutter, we pretty much have the nuts here. I bet $80, and much to my surprise, at this point in time, he decides to put in the raise. He puts me all in for 205. I snap call. I have top 2 pair. I'm just not folding with how passive I played this hand. He flips over his cards and he has a set of queens. So, yep, try to get sneaky and unfortunately ended up getting stacked the first hand. And yeah, it's time to add on for another 300 and hopefully not continue like this. Alright guys, for the next hand we see, there have been some hands played. I've chipped down a little bit, have a little over 200-ish in my starting stack. Do $5 on the button. Once again, small blind raises it to 15. Hijack calls and I make the call as well because I have ace 5 suited and $10 more is not going to make me fold that hand. Flop comes out pretty much gin. 5-5-3 is a flop. Small blind leads out for $35. Hijack gets out of the way and I put in the call. So we're going heads up to a turn and I have a stranglehold on this hand, hoping that she has an overpair and hoping that the board doesn't get too scary and that I can get paid off, because after that last hand, I deserve a little bit of run good in my favor. Turn comes out for her heart. She slows down and checks. I'm not putting on the brakes. I put in $50. She pretty much instantly makes the call, so I feel like she has a very strong hand, a very high pocket pair. I'm hoping nothing comes off that scares her, and the 4 of diamonds doesn't appear to be like it would be one of those cards, because instead of checking like she did the previous street, she leads out for around $75. I only have 100 in my stack, so I go all in for 100 and she makes the snap call. I flip over my hand showing I have the boat and she shows that she had aces. Aces getting cracked by ace 5 is very painful. I do feel bad for her, but I just ran my top 2 pair into a set of queens. So I feel bad for you. Sorry, that's poker though. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. I've had the losing side of that, so I know how it feels, but she's a great lady. Wish her the best. That being said, taking down a $415 pot, trying to turn this around and head the right way. Let's go, boys. Hopefully, this will continue and there are no bumps in the road. On to the next hand. Alright guys, for the next hand, we are in the big blind. Look down and see pocket 10s. A very good hand, very good hand. We are 5-handed right now, so once again, game has not filled up yet. Raises have been small, so I make it $7. We get the cutoff and the button to call, and we're going heads up to the flop. But hold on one second. Would you guys believe that 73% of you are not subscribed? 26% are, but the rest of you are not. So if you could, do me a favor, please just go down below, click on the sub icon. It is free to do, doesn't cost you anything, and it helps out the channel a ton. Plus, it may help us hit this flop and may help you in the future. Anyways, back to the poker hand. Alright guys, enough of you must hit that sub button because the flop comes out 10-10 ace. That is right. We flop quads. Action does check through because I'm not going to bet into 2 people and I have quads. Turn comes the 9 of clubs. I check again, checks through. River comes the 7 of hearts. I can't check anymore. I mean, come on. There's $21 in the pot. Let's build this thing. I throw out $20, pot size bet. The player to my left feels like I am either full of it or he has a hand, because $20 is not going to be enough. He raises it up to 60. That gets the button out of there, and now it is back to me. Newsflash, I'm not just calling. 100% mandatory raise in this spot. He throws out 60. I'm trying to think of a good price, a good number to put out there. Eventually, I do land on 145. I feel like that's an okay raise. I feel like 120 is fine too, something like that. But unfortunately, whatever we raise, I think it was going to be a bit too much, because he ends up folding a straight. I show the quads, let him know he made a good laydown and scooping in $141 pots. Let's keep going and keep this train a-rolling, please. All right, guys, so our next hand is going to be a double board PLO bomb pot. That means you get 4 cards. There's 2 boards. You can either win half, you can scoop, or you can lose both halves. Anyways, look down and see 10, 8, 10, king, with the 10s being suited. First flop is 10, 8, queen, so we flop a set. The other flop is ace, 9, 8. So not too much there. We do have an 8, backdoor flush draw possibilities, straight possibilities, things like that. Anyways, we have a bet for $25. I decide to call. Big blind and under the gun call as well, hoping to pair that top board. And if not, we should probably get out of the way on the turn. But with that being said, the turns come out, and they are the boom, ace of hearts up top and deuce of clubs down below. So my problem here was I was seeing jack 9 as the straight for up top, and I didn't see anything else, right? I saw the flush draw, things like that. So when the player bets 110, I jam over the top for 225, hoping to isolate, because I feel like no one has a straight up top, and I kind of just want to get heads up. I don't want to go 3 ways. With that being said, it failed miserably. Yep, failed miserably. Both players call. One of them's all in for less, so we do have a side pot with one of the players. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's something. 645 in the middle, 200 on the side pot between myself and the other player. Hopefully I can win one of these, because I have a set on one and I have a pair of 10s on the other. It's not looking too good for ya boy. With all that being said, I think I can just fold turn. I don't think I should be in this hand, and I should not have this much money invested. Deuce of hearts comes up top, 7 of spades down below. Yep. Flush draw comes in up top, and 7 of spades brings in straight draws. Not really anything I'm too concerned about. We do take care of 3 of the 10s. So the player has king jack up top for the side pot for the straight, but luckily my pair of 10s wins on bottom to chop the outside pot. So yeah, we get $100 back, but we do get scooped on the main. The straight wins up top, and the other player had a set of aces on bottom. He actually had a monster hand. I don't know if I pick it up. He had a set of aces up top and a set of aces on bottom. So that ace up top to give the guy the straight was the case ace. He also had the nut flush draw in clubs. So yeah, that guy had a set on each board and the nut flush draw on each board on the turn. Crazy hand. Don't know what I was doing in there. Like I said, I should have folded. It was my fault. I didn't see the straight, and I wasn't really worried about top set of aces. I saw jack 9, but I didn't see king jack, and that was my fault. Made a mistake on this Omaha hand. Shouldn't have lost that much money, but you live, you learn. That's life. On to the next one. All right, guys, the very next hand, I look down and see 8, 9 of clubs from the cutoff. Under the gun, raise it up to $12, and I put in the call. Action gets back around to the big blind player. He decides that that's not enough money, so he's going to put a little bit more out there. He puts about $50, and that's when under the gun goes all in for 140. I look back at my cards, decide, hey, YOLO, why not? I was on tilt from the last hand with how bad I played it, so I figured what better action to take than to play poorly again on the very next hand, because that's what dumb people do. Yep, went all in for 105. The big blind player does make the call. So on the bright side, there's 315 in the main. I don't know what's on the side. You guys can figure it out. I told you what the math is. I don't care because I'm not in that pot. Yeah, I'm tilted. Tilted while editing. What you gonna do about it, huh? Come play my games and I'll dump to you too. Anyways, 8, 9 of clubs. Horrible hand. It's not horrible. It's actually a good hand. But, once again, for this amount of money, it's probably not the best idea. With that being said, the flops come out. We're talking about how many times they want to do it. We decide to go flop twice. That's cool with me. Flop's not bad. 9 Jack Queen. Turn comes a 7. River comes a 10. We have a straight on that board. And on the bottom board, it comes 6, 6. So unless someone has a king, we're looking pretty good on the top board. With that being said, one of the players has a set of jacks and the other player has pocket kings. So, yep. Our low end of the straight is no good. We are getting chopped up in this pot. And yeah. Yep. On to the next hand. All right, guys, reloading for another 300 puts us at 900 so far for the night. I raise up to $10 with ace-9 of diamonds. We get re-raised to 25 from the hijack. Small blind makes the call. Action gets back around to me, and I am making the call for $15 more. We're going 3 ways to this flop, $75 in the middle, and it comes out 7, 8, 10. So we flop open-ended. There are 2 hearts out there, so it's something to be aware of. But with that being said, when the hijack bets $30 and the small blind makes the call, I think I got to put in a call here. You know, there's too many draws. We have one of them. I gotta put a call, see what happens. Turn comes the 10 of spades. Action checks to me. And this is where I decide to get a little bit different. You know, this hand's not normally played like this, but I feel that the hijack player could have an overpair. I feel like he could have ace king. He could have a flush draw. He could have anything. So I lead out, or I'm sorry, well, I bet $70. The hijack makes the call when the 10 comes out. We're waiting on the small blind player, and he is in the tank. He does not know what he wants to do. I do know that me betting on this turn, I definitely have plans to continue and bet on the river, because I'm not putting him on a 10. I feel like a 10 would have to raise here. With that being said, when the deuce of clubs comes on the river and all the draws break out, I have to follow through with my original plan of bluffing. So that's what I do. I bet $150, half pot once again, same as my previous bet sizing. And hopefully this will be enough to take down the pot, because I've lost enough money and I don't want to lose any more. With that being said, you cannot be afraid to bluff in poker. Sometimes you got to do it. And eventually he does make the fold, and we take this pot down with ace high, $305 coming our way, and it's starting to turn around. All right, guys, let's keep this winning train moving. We're playing pot limit Omaha. I do have $5 button straddle out. We look down and see ace 5, 6, 7 with the ace suited. With that being said, everyone is calling this $5, and I like this hand. I like having the ace suited. I like having all these connected cards, and with hands like these, I do tend to raise. Now, the small blind player had been talking a whole bunch. Like, he was like, oh, you're gonna raise, like trying to get everyone to call and get everyone to raise, but he just makes the call. So when it gets around to me, I announce that I am going to have to pot this up and oblige that small blind player. So that's exactly what I do. I make it $45. Little to my knowledge, everyone had good hands. You know, who would have thought? Who would have thought that this would happen? But yeah, it's Omaha. People like to see flops, especially here in Texas. So under the gun +1 decides to make the call. He's taking a little while because the small blind player is talking a lot in this hand. So just kind of is what it is. That player gave me the 1-finger salute because I potted it. Cutoff makes the call. Button player makes the call. Small blind player, who enticed all of this action, eventually does make the call after checking his cards and thinking about folding for a second. But yeah, he makes the call. Big blind player somehow folds, so I don't know how he folds with that much money in the middle, but he is a better player than I am because he does make a disciplined fold. We're going 5 ways to this flop, and it is already ballooned up to the astronomical amount of $225. Comes out 2, 3, 4. So we have the nuts with a larger straight redraw. Small blind player bet $75 into the field. I raise him, go all in for $280 because I have the nuts, and that is a hand that cannot be beat currently. Omaha, things can change, so I want to get the money in while I'm ahead, and that's what I do. I get my money in good, except for on that other pot limit Omaha hand. I got in bad there, and when I flopped 2 pair ace queen versus a set of queens, I got in bad there. And when I bluffed last hand, I mean, I was getting in bad, but it is a bluff. So, yeah. But other than those times, I get it in good, boys. He makes the call. We decide we're going to go twice. 5 comes on the top, and then the board pairing 3. Bottom is the ace in a board pairing 4. I'm hoping he does not have a set. Luckily, he doesn't on one of the boards. Unfortunately, that is the bottom boards where he has quads. So he has boat now after telling me I need to catch up when he snap called my all in. But yeah, it's him that needed to catch up, and he did. $575 going his way. On to the next hand. Yep, that one kind of hurt. Down to $120 in my stack. Look down. 2 hands later, I'm in the small blind. See ace queen offsuit. Middle position raises it up to $10. And yes, guys, it's not been the best of nights. I don't think I've played the best on some hands, but that being said, I think I've run pretty bad too. The cutoff calls, the button makes the call. I announce I am all in for my remaining $120. I'll be happy just taking it down here, but in all honesty, I kind of want some action because, hey, I'm stuck and the only way out is through. If I don't get any action, I can never get unstuck. I mean, winning $30 at a time is fun and all, but doubling up is more fun. So when the button calls, I'm cool with it. I'm happy. I know this guy. I've played with him for a while. He's a good guy. And it is what it is. I have ace queen. He lets me know he has pocket 7s. It's a flip. We decide to go flop twice. And yeah, hopefully we can spike an ace. That would be good. You know, especially after the last hand, flopping the nuts. Yep. It kind of hurt. But flop comes out. It is king 5-8. 3-10 come on the top. 10-3 come on the bottom, mirroring each other and making sure we do not get a single pair. Pocket 7s are going to win this $270 hand, and I am reloading for $500, putting it at $1,400, hopefully able to turn this around. All right, guys, so we look down and see ace king offsuit from the big blind. Yep, in for $1,400. You heard that correct. Hijack raised it up to $15. The reason I got in this deep is because this game is playing that deep. Everyone has deep stacks, and it's a good game. It's short-handed right now, and it's about to get shorter, but the people we have on the player, we're all gamblers. We all like to play, and we're all here to have fun and take each other's stacks. It's a blast. Button makes a call. Action gets his small blind player. He makes the call as well. So when action gets to me, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to raise this up. I make it $65 to go. That is 50 on top of the original 15. Hijack player makes the call. Gets back to the button player. He is talking. The dealer is trying to rein him in. The dealer's doing his best job, but this guy has been having one too many drinks, and he is having a blast, and he does not even realize it is on him. Flicks in the $50 once he finally realizes it, and the small blind player eventually does decide to get out of the way. They were probably one of the tighter players on the table, small blind. With that being said, flop comes out, and it is the deuce 3-4 of all clubs, $210 in this pot. That's how this game's playing. It's a 1-2 game with $200 pre-flop in the pot. That's insane. I check it. Hijack bets $50, and it gets around to the button player. Well, once the dealer lets him know it is his action, he eventually does decide that he doesn't really want to play for $50. His hand's not good enough, so he's just going to fold. That's an option. Me, on the other hand, I love my hand, and I am ready to play for it all. So that's what I do. I announce I am going all in, put all my chips in the middle. There is $310 in there now with me calling his 50 and then raising over the top. There will be more. If and when he decides to make the call, I will let you gentlemen know how much is in there. But with that being said, it looks like I have about, what is that, 253? It looks like I went all in over the top for an extra $330-ish is what it looks like, just based off of what I see. Now, when he doesn't snap call, I'm feeling fine. I don't think he has a flush. I don't think he has a straight. I don't think he has 2 pair. I think any club comes and I'm good. I think any king comes and I'm good. I think any ace comes and I'm good. So this is semi-bluff. I checked, 1, to protect my checking range because you got to check every now and then with strong hands. And 2, because if I could see a free card, I'll see a free card. 3, also I can check raise, win this pot with king high. Not king high, ace high. That's better than king high. Ace beats a king, so I have a better hand than king high. With all that being said, I don't care what this guy does. He's a good guy. He's a good player. I have not been playing with him for a long time, but he has been here every time I've come. Eventually, he decides to make the fold, so we win another pot with ace high, $310 coming our way. Don't call it a comeback, baby. Don't do it. Alright guys, look down and see ace-8 of clubs on this next hand. The under-the-gun player who has been raising crazy for the later half of this, raise it up to 25, middle position player calls. Of course I'm going to call. I have ace-8 suited, plus it is on the vlog. If I don't call, you're not going to see it. News flash. Action gets around big blind player. He makes the call as well, and we're hoping for a good flop on this one. Flop comes out. It's not too bad. Jack, queen, 10. I know we missed everything, but we do have backdoor flush draws, and the king gives us the nut straight. Well, I mean, does give us a nut straight. King of spades does bring in the front door flush, so don't really want to see that one. Action checks to the middle position player. He goes all in for $30. There's 100 in there. It's only 30 to call. Like I said, I have a lot of runner outs. My ace may be good, I don't know, but I call the 30. The small blind player decides to call as well. I'm sorry, the big blind player, and then gets to the under the gun player. He is in the tank, which is kind of crazy because he has been the action player the later half of this whole game. So I am shocked that he's thinking for $30. I mean, he makes it $25 pre-flop without batting an eye. Like, it's no big deal. On Omaha, he's been potting blind all night, which can be like $50 depending on the action and things like that, and if there's a straddle. But for some reason, this $30 bet has him in the blender, and I don't understand it. I don't get it, but hey, it's his money, and you know, he can play it however he wants. Just because I don't understand it doesn't mean anything. I'm in the game for 1400, so what do I know? He ends up folding. One of his cards did flash. It was a red ace. Two of the players, myself and someone else, said that we saw ace of hearts or ace of diamonds. We know it's a red ace, so the dealer flips that up and lets everyone know what it is. Now, we're going heads up to the turn with one player all in. Turn is an inconsequential, non-changing anything at all, three of diamonds, the blankiest of blank. So it goes check, check. River comes the king of spades, bringing in that front door flush I was telling you guys about. Yep. Big blind player checks his hand, bet 75. I'm not folding for 75 here, so I make the call. He announces he has a straight. Luckily, it's only the 9. I have the ace for the nut straight, so I win the outside pot. We also win the main and take down this $340 on the road back to Evansville. Not trying to get to profit, boys, just trying to get to even at this point. Yep, one step closer on to the next one. All right, guys, for next one, look down and see 9, 10 of diamonds. I am in under the gun. There's a $5 button strauss. Small blind raises up to 20. Big blind makes the call. Action gets to me. Of course, I'm making the call because I have 9, 10 suited. It's a good hand. It's a great hand for $20, and most of the pots have not been this small to see a flop. So $20 seems like a reasonable amount. With a $5 button strauss, see a flop. With that being said, Button says, hell no, we ain't playing for no $20. He raises it up to $80 because he wants to punish me. No, maybe he has a hand. I don't know. This is the action player on the table. We've all been giving action. Don't get me wrong, but he is definitely the one driving it. The small blind player folds. Big blind goes all in for 116. I ask for a count. Once the dealer lets me know how much it is, I've pretty much made it up in my mind that I will gamble with 9, 10 of diamonds for $116. It is a good hand. It can crack a lot of overpairs, and it connects with a large portion of the board or cards that come out for the board. Action does get back to the big blind player, and he is trying to figure out what has happened with all the action. He had a couple drinks. He's feeling pretty good, not paying the most attention to the table, but he's here to have a good time, as are we all. So the dealer's trying to explain to him, I can't tell you what the action was, but I can tell you that this player is all in, and this player did make the call because he was asking who raised it again. Once he gets it all figured out, he does end up making the call, and we're going 3 ways to this flop with one player all in. So heads up for the side. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. This flop, not the best flop. Not the best flop in the world. Definitely have had better.
Flop comes out 7 Jack Deuce with 2 clubs. Don't have anything other than a gut shot at this point. Luckily, it does go check, check. Whew, 368 in the pot. Turn comes a 10 of spades. Hey, I got a pair. I've improved closer to a straight. So when the button bets 75, I make the call. We got $518 in this pot. In the river is the 8 of spades, giving me the straight. I decide to lead out here. I don't want it to check behind. I bet 150 into 518. I feel like it's a very milky size. It's a very good size. 4 cards to a straight out there. It's just one of those things where I'm like, hey, this seems like a good amount. Hopefully I get paid and hopefully I can win. Because if he does end up calling this, the pot will be $818. Along with the previous 2 wins, that will get us so much closer to even than we have been all freaking night. I feel like it's been an uphill battle. It's just been one of those games. Have you ever had one of those games where just uphill all the way? Eventually he does decide to make the call. We show that we have the straight. We are taking down the side pot, and we do take down the main pot as well. That big blind player mucked his hand as soon as action completed, knowing he would not win. Feels bad for him. He's been running a little bad, but like I said, in the game for 1400, winning in $818 pots, definitely gonna lighten the load on that. So let's get all our chips and move on to the next hand. All right, guys, this is the final hand of the vlog. There are a couple of hands I'll tell you about in the, post-credit scenes, if you would. But look down and see Queen Jack, and I am the big blind. Yeah, I'll tell you guys, unfortunately, I didn't get the notes on those hands. It was late, and I didn't write them out. I didn't think any more interesting hands would happen, so I stopped recording. But, yeah, I'll let you know what happened at the end. But, yeah. Some pretty crazy stuff. Anyways, cutoff raises it up to $10. The button player is cashing out, so he's not going to call. Small blind does make the call, and I raise it up to $50. Why? Because the cutoff player has been action. I told you guys, if there's an action player on the table, don't be afraid to give them some more action, okay? If you see they've been raising and you think they're raising light, re-raise them. I mean, that's poker, So that's what I did here. I'm trying to, get it heads up with me and him, so I don't have to worry about a third party in there and worry about what cards they have and, all that mamma jamma. So cutoff makes the call. Big blind player gets back to him. I think he's a little angry with my raise, but he eventually does make the fold. Flop comes out, and it is, once again, it's one of those above average flops, Comes out and it's ace king 10. So we flop Broadway, the nuts as it were. Like I said, the other player is an action player, so I check to him thinking he will bet. What do I know? He checks behind because I'm an idiot. Jack of diamonds comes on the turn, and I've got to start building this pot. I bet $50. He raises it to $200. Yes, I know the flush came in, but I'm snap calling this player, and that's what I did. $510 in the middle. King of Hearts comes on the river, and I'm not really liking life right now. I had checked before it came out. Luckily, he does check behind. Or there's some confusion. Maybe he didn't check behind. I'm not really sure. Eventually, we find out he did check, so I flip over my card, showing I have the straight. I got to be honest, if he went all in there, I don't know what I do. I hate my life. Luckily, didn't have to deal with that, didn't get put to the test because that would have hurt. But $510 coming my way for the final vlog of the night. Final hand of the vlog, if I can figure out how words work. And let's go to the outro to see how we did. If we got profit, if we got even, if we're still stuck.
All right, guys. So yeah, super swingy session all over the place. Was in for 1,400 in total. I'll let you guys know that I ended up cashing out for negative. Yep. I lost $200 on a session, so it is what it is. A little bit of a loss, but considering everything, it wasn't that bad. The other hands you guys missed were I had aces and ended up making a little bit of money on that. And there was a double board Omaha hand that I ended up getting half of, and I was put in a really tough spot, but I ended up making the call and it was right. So that's how the night ended. Not too bad. Hopefully next time that I go to this spot, I can win some money because it's a great game. It's great action. I do enjoy the game. I just feel like I've run bad at it, and run bad happens. It's not necessarily the game that I'm running bad at. It just happens to be where I'm flopping the nut straight, or I'm flopping two pair and someone just, I'm in a cooler, someone has a set, and the other one, he just boats. So things like that happen. I know it's poker. I look forward to going back, and like I said, hopefully get a win next time. But appreciate you guys watching to the end. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. YouTube seems to think you'll like this video on screen, so check it out. Catch you guys on the next one.